Ever feel like you're constantly racing against the clock? Like there's just never enough time to do everything you want, let alone everything you need to do.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we're diving deep today into time management.
Time management. Ah, yes.
But before you think, ugh, not another productivity lecture,
Right.
this isn't about cramming more into your already packed schedule. It's about something a little bit different.
It's about aligning your time with what matters most.
Okay, I like that. So what are we using for this deep dive today? What's the source material we're going to be pulling from?
We're diving into a text called The Art of Time Management, Secrets to Getting More Done.
Okay, cool.
And right off the bat, it makes a really interesting point. Effective time management isn't just about checking things off a list,
Right?
It's about creating a life where you feel in control, where you have the space for your passions.
Yeah.
And that feeling of, I'm always behind, starts to fade away.
That sounds pretty great.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I've tried a lot of different time management techniques, and sometimes I feel like they actually make me more stressed.
Oh,
Is it really possible to break free from that feeling of overwhelm?
I think so. Absolutely. The book does a great job of outlining not just the benefits, but also the common pitfalls that kind of trip us up along the way.
Okay, so it's like know your enemy before you can defeat them.
Right, exactly.
So what are these enemies of productivity? What are we looking out for here?
Well, the first one's probably no surprise, procrastination.
Oh, yeah.
We all do it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But understanding why we procrastinate can help us break that cycle.
You know what I've noticed, though? Sometimes procrastination just feels inevitable. Like it's almost like a looming deadline that just makes me freeze up.
Oh, totally. It's that anticipation, the feeling of being overwhelmed that fuels procrastination.
Right.
And that's why the book suggests something pretty simple. Break down large tasks into smaller bite-sized chunks.
Oh.
So instead of looking at that massive project, just focus on one step at a time.
Okay, so instead of write the entire report, it's write the introduction.
Exactly.
You got it.
Okay, that makes it seem a lot easier.
Smaller steps lead to quicker wins, which builds momentum and motivation.
Okay, I like that. So what's the next one? What's the next time waster we should be aware of?
This one might surprise you. Multitasking.
Wait, multitasking is bad. I thought that was like the ultimate productivity skill.
Yeah, it's a common myth. Our brains aren't actually wired to multitask effectively.
Okay.
When we try to juggle multiple tasks, we end up switching our focus constantly. And it actually reduces our overall productivity and increases the chance of making mistakes.
Wow, okay. You're like totally busting the multitasking myth for me.
Yeah.
So it's better to focus on one thing at a time.
Exactly. What the book calls single tasking. Just give your full attention to one task at a time.
Okay.
And you'll be surprised how much more you can actually accomplish when you're not constantly shifting gears. Okay, single tasking. I'm adding that to my list. What else is out there? What other time wasters are waiting to sabotage my productivity?
Oh, you know this one well. The ever-present siren song of distractions.
Don't even get me started. Social media, email notifications. It's like a never-ending battle.
It is. The book offers some practical tips for managing distractions. For example, setting specific times to check emails and social media
No.
instead of constantly being pulled away by those notifications.
It's like batching it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Setting those boundaries.
I am so guilty of constantly checking my phone. It's like a nervous tick. What else can we do to fight back against those distractions?
Creating a dedicated distraction-free zone.
Ooh, okay.
When you need to really focus, silence your phone. Turn off those notifications.
Yeah.
Maybe even use noise-canceling headphones.
Oh, yeah.
It's like building a fortress of focus.
I like that. A fortress of focus.
And then don't be afraid to set boundaries with people too. Let your colleagues or your family members know when you need some uninterrupted time to work.
Yes. So important. It's like protecting your time and your attention.
Exactly. And speaking of taking control, the last time waster we'll address is poor planning or a lack of prioritization.
Oh, yeah. Winging it. I'm definitely guilty of that. But sometimes even planning feels overwhelming, you know?
I hear you. But the book makes a really good case for taking a few minutes each day to plan your schedule. And crucially, to identify your MITs, your most important tasks.
MITs. Okay, I like that. How do I figure out what my MITs are, though?
It's about aligning your tasks with your goals. Ask yourself, what are the things that will have the biggest impact on moving me closer to where I want to be?
Okay.
Those are your MITs. And the key is to tackle those first thing in the day, when your energy and focus are at their peak.
Okay, that makes sense. Prioritize the most important things. Get them done when I'm at my best. But what about when life throws those curveballs, you know? Like what happens when the unexpected pops up and throws my whole plan off track?
Well, that's where the book really shines. It goes beyond listing techniques. And it dives into those deeper principles of time management, like flexibility and adaptability.
Okay.
It's about creating a system that works for you, not against you.
So finding that balance between structure and flexibility.
Exactly. And the book introduces some really powerful tools and techniques to help you achieve that balance, which we'll delve into right after this.
Okay, so we've talked about all those sneaky time wasters, those productivity pitfalls.
Right.
Now for the fun part,
Yes.
the tools and techniques to help us get back on track.
The stuff that actually works.
Exactly. So what's the first tool we're going to talk about?
Let's start with a classic, the Pomodoro Technique.
Pomodoro, like tomatoes.
Exactly. It's named after those tomato-shaped kitchen timers.
That's so funny.
I know, right?
Okay, so tell me more about this Pomodoro technique.
But the concept is pretty simple. You work in focused bursts of 25 minutes, called Pomodoros,
Pomodoros, okay.
followed by a short 5-minute break.
Yep.
And after every 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, 15 to 20 minutes.
So it's like built-in break time.
Exactly. Your brain needs that time to rest and recharge.
Okay, but doesn't breaking up your work like that make things feel kind of choppy?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But it's actually the opposite. The Pomodoro Technique helps you create a rhythm for your work.
Okay.
And those breaks are crucial. They prevent burnout, and they help you stay focused and engaged.
Okay, so it's not about pushing through until you're totally exhausted. It's more about working with your natural energy cycles.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay, so Pomodoro technique, it's going on the list. What's next?
Let's talk about the Eisenhower Matrix,
As in President Eisenhower.
the one and only. Apparently, he was known for his incredible productivity.
Huh, I did not know that.
And this matrix is a really simple but powerful way to prioritize tasks based on their urgency and their importance.
Okay, break it down for me. How does this Eisenhower matrix work?
So you basically create a 2x2 grid
Okay,
with 4 quadrants. One for tasks that are both important and urgent.
okay, got it.
One for tasks that are important but not urgent.
Okay.
One that's urgent but not important.
Hmm.
And one that's neither urgent nor important.
Okay, 4 quadrants. I'm visualizing it. So how do I actually decide which tasks go where?
Well, let's start with the important and urgent quadrant.
Okay.
Those are your must-dos. Things like deadlines, crises,
Yeah.
things that need your immediate attention.
Got it. The things you absolutely can't ignore.
Exactly. Then you have important but not urgent.
Okay.
These are tasks that contribute to your long-term goals. Planning, relationship building, personal development.
Okay.
They deserve dedicated time, but you can schedule them a bit more strategically.
So it's about being proactive, making time for the things that matter, even if they're not like screaming for your attention right this second.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the urgent but not important quadrant. This is where things get interesting.
Okay.
These are often distractions or requests from others that pull you away from your real priorities.
Right.
So the key here is to delegate whenever possible.
Oh, delegation. Love that word. It's all about working smarter, not harder, right?
Yes, exactly. And then finally, we have neither urgent nor important.
Okay.
These are those time wasters we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Things that can really be eliminated or minimized to free up more time for the tasks that actually matter.
So the Eisenhower Matrix, it's like a sorting hat for your to-do list.
I like that.
It helps you figure out what to focus on and what to maybe just let go of.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the next tool we should add to our time management toolkit?
Let's talk about time blocking.
Time blocking. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's basically about assigning specific blocks of time to different activities throughout your day.
Okay.
Instead of just having a to-do list, you create a schedule for your tasks.
So instead of just write a blog post, I'd actually block out, say, 2 hours on my calendar for that specific task.
Exactly. You're being intentional with your time.
Okay.
And it helps reduce decision fatigue because you're not constantly having to decide what to work on next. You've already made that decision.
Oh, I like that. No more waffling or getting sidetracked.
Right. And the beauty of time blocking is that you can really customize it to fit your own needs and preferences.
Okay.
Some people like to plan their whole week in advance. Others just prefer to block out their workday experiment and see what feels best for you.
So finding a system that works for you, not trying to force yourself into a rigid structure.
Exactly. And, speaking of finding a system that works, I think it's time we talk about Elon Musk.
Ooh, Elon Musk. Talk about someone who seems to defy the limits of time.
I know, right?
How does he run multiple companies, revolutionize industries, and still find time to, be Elon Musk?
Well, according to the book, one of his secrets is meticulous time blocking.
Really?
Yeah, he reportedly schedules his entire day in 5-minute increments.
5 minutes? Wow, that seems intense.
It is, but it illustrates the power of being intentional with your time.
Right.
Now, I'm not suggesting we all need to start scheduling our lives in 5-minute blocks.
No, thank you. I think I'd need a whole team of assistants to help me with that.
Right. But the key takeaway is that we can learn from his approach.
Okay.
He understands that time is our most valuable resource, and he's incredibly deliberate about how he uses it.
So it's not about working longer or harder. It's about working smarter.
Exactly. And that's something we can all apply to our own lives, even if we're not running a space exploration company.
Right. We might not be Elon Musk, but we can all learn from his approach to time management. Okay. I'm feeling inspired to really level up my time management game. But I've got to be honest, I've tried to implement new productivity techniques in the past, and I often fall off the wagon after a week or two. What can I do to make these changes actually stick?
That's a great question, and it's something the book addresses head on. It's all about building habits, and that takes time and effort,
Yeah.
but it's definitely possible.
Okay, so where do I begin? What's the first step to turning these time management strategies into lasting habits?
The book suggests starting small.
Mm.
Don't try to overhaul your entire routine overnight.
Okay.
Pick one technique that resonates with you, maybe the Pomodoro Technique or time blocking, and commit to trying it out for a week.
Okay, one step at a time, I can handle that. But what if I hit a roadblock? Like, what if I plan out my day beautifully, and then suddenly I get pulled into an unexpected meeting, or a family emergency throws everything off track?
That's bound to happen. Life is unpredictable. The key is to be flexible and adaptable.
Okay.
Don't beat yourself up. If things don't go exactly according to plan,
Easier said than done sometimes.
I know, but just try to get back on track as soon as possible.
So it's a process, not perfection.
Exactly.
Oh.
And remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
There will be days when you nail it,
Right.
and there will be days when you feel like you're back at square one.
Oh, yeah, I know those days.
They're all part of the process.
Okay, that makes me feel better. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding what works for me and creating a system that supports my goals and my well-being.
Exactly.
So we've explored all these great time management techniques, but let's be real. How do we actually make them stick? You know, I've tried new productivity hacks before, but they often kind of fizzle out after a week or two.
Yeah. It's one thing to learn about these techniques. It's another to actually integrate them into your life.
Exactly. What's the secret sauce? How do we make these changes last?
Well, the book really stresses that it's not about finding some quick fix or a magic formula.
Okay.
It's about a deeper shift in your mindset and in building sustainable habits.
Mindset and habits. Okay, I like that. But how do I actually do that? Where do I even begin?
The book suggests starting small. Don't try to change everything at once.
Yep.
Pick one technique that really resonates with you.
Right.
Maybe it's the Pomodoro Technique or time blocking,
Right.
or even just setting aside a few minutes each morning to plan out your day
Okay.
and commit to doing that one thing for a week to see how it feels.
Okay, one step at a time. I can do that. But what about those days when life throws a wrench in my perfectly planned schedule? You know, the unexpected meetings, the family emergencies, all that chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
Life happens, and no time management systems is going to be perfect. There are always going to be those unexpected challenges and disruptions.
So how do you stay on track when things go off plan?
Flexibility and adaptability are key.
Right.
Don't get discouraged when things don't go exactly as you expected.
Yeah.
Just try to get back on track
Yeah.
as soon as you can.
So it's a process.
Right.
It's not about being perfect.
Exactly. And remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There will be days when you nail it, and then there will be days when you feel like you're back at square one.
Oh, yeah, I know those days well.
But it's all part of the process.
You know, it's actually really reassuring to hear that even the time management gurus have those off days.
We're all human.
Right. But seriously, what about those times when I'm feeling totally overwhelmed? Like, even the thought of planning out my day feels like too much.
Those feelings are totally valid. We all experience overwhelm sometimes.
Yeah.
The key is to recognize those feelings.
Yeah.
And give yourself permission to take a break.
Okay.
Step away from your to-do list. Do something that helps you recharge. And then come back to it when you're feeling more centered and ready to focus again.
So self-care is just as important as productivity.
I think so. It's all about finding that balance between taking care of yourself and making progress on your goals.
Makes sense. It's not about pushing myself to the point of burnout. It's about finding a sustainable rhythm. That works for me.
Exactly. And when you're ready to dive back in, remember the power of focusing on just one thing.
Okay.
What's the most important task you can accomplish right now? What's your MIT?
Right. The MIT. Back to basics.
Break it down, prioritize,
Yeah.
and focus.
I'm feeling a lot more hopeful about this whole time management thing. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding what works for me and creating a system that supports my goals and my well-being.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. And it's been really great exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise, it's been such an insightful conversation.
And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired and empowered to take control of their time and create lives that are more aligned with what matters most to them.
I think so too. And before we go, is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the whole conversation has highlighted something really important. Time management. It's not just about individual productivity. It's also about how we manage our time collectively as a society.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just about me getting my own tasks done. It's about how we use our time as a community, as a country, as a global society.
Exactly. Think about how we structure our work days, how we prioritize our time, how we value different types of work.
Right.
It all ties back to our collective understanding of time and its importance.
Wow. You've just opened up a whole new layer of thinking about time management. It's not just a personal productivity tool. It's a lens through which we can view our entire society.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it raises some really important questions. How do our individual choices and actions contribute to our collective experience of time? How can we create a world where time is used more wisely, more equitably, and more sustainably?
Those are some really big questions. Right. And I have to say, this deep dive has been so much more than I expected. We haven't just explored the practicalities of time management, but we've also delved into the deeper meaning and implications of how we use our time.
It's been a really enriching conversation.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the art of time management. Until next time, stay curious, stay intentional, and remember, you've got this.